guys, and welcome to another episode of Everyday EDC. A very nostalgic episode for me. Why? Because today we have the first $150 knife that I have ever purchased, the exact knife currently in this box. I actually gave it to a buddy for his birthday. I think, I don't know, like probably about 5 months ago. So, this is the James brand, upside down, Carter. So as you can see, it's a pretty nice boxing situation, right? So it comes with this kind of a felt bag. It's a nice bag. It's almost like cheap material. It feels like felt, like you guys know what freaking felt looks like. If you guys need, this isn't a felt review, so if you want to look that up, go ahead. Has this really nice wooden case with some more felt down here, perfectly fitting for the actual knife itself. It comes with a lanyard. This is probably the coolest part about this knife, except for the fact that you can't do both a lanyard and a pocket clip. You have to have either the lanyard loop that will mount right in here where the pocket clip goes, or you have the pocket clip. I believe this pocket clip is reversible too, by the way. So some quick overview of the knife. It came in. It is not currently, it's basically centered up right there. Let's take a look. Ah, my battery just died. We're going to pause this, plug in the battery, come on back. We're back in business. So this pocket clip is ambidextrous. And it does, as this is a recap if I have to do this. So this is a lanyard loop that'll plug in right here while the pocket clip comes out. You can't have both, unfortunately. So you either get a lanyard loop or a pocket clip. It's cool that they give you the option, right? And it's actually kind of cool the way it comes, like it's with it in this slot right there. So let's take a look at this guy. The centering, it's virtually basically center. Virtually, basically, maybe, possibly, figuratively, maybe not literally, and metaphorically centered. So that's cool. The pivot is a T8, while the body screws, unfortunately, are a T6. So as I said, ambidextrous pocket clip. This comes with its own version of the axis lock. And as you can see, the action on this isn't the greatest, but I really don't think this was broken in that well. I know I didn't use it, and it looks the exact same as when I gave it to him, so I'm assuming this is in some underwear drawer somewhere because not everybody's a knife nut like us. Blade play side to side, I did tighten the pivot a little bit, just enough, and I did that with everyone. Now, as with the normal axis lock, I feel like there's a slight bit of blade play, but it's not blade play. You can feel the whole thing kind of a slight rock, but you don't feel the clicking like a normal blade play. I can see this kind of up and down just a little bit, and I feel like I've seen that with a lot of axis locks that aren't axis locks. For example, real quick, I got a tiny bit of clicking in my Super Freak. Now, I think, once again, that's an axis lock situation. I don't believe that to be, the make or break, or this is a crappy knife because of it, or anything of that nature. I just believe that it has to do with the version of the axis lock, that it has a little bit of up and down in the locking mechanism itself. So these scales are G10, but they're pretty nice. Let's take a look here. Let's see. They have this like wood grain G10 look, which is cool. Once again, our little wannabe axis lock, I don't know what they call it. A backspacer that goes through here. It feels like aluminum, but it could be G10 as well. It does feel plasticky when you scratch it. I did get the serrations on this knife. Don't judge. It was what I was into at the time. I am currently no longer into it, but yeah. So again, action. It has this cool looking thumb disc, and I emphasize the looking because it looks freaking great. And the functionality of it, not so much. I have to really focus on hitting that position. For some reason, if the thumb stud was maybe down here, it would be absolutely perfect. For some reason, they chose to put it right here, and so you have to push up like a thumb stud, but it's a disc, and it just feels weird. It kind of looks like you can take it out and maybe customize it one day because it just pops out with that little screw there. This blade is a drop point. I don't think it's a full hollow. Not hollow, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just almost a full flat grind. And once again with the serrations, but this is a VG10 blade. So the ergonomics on this knife, they're okay. This thumb disc is pretty nice to place your hand at because you do feel like you got some meat to it. I really don't feel like I can get a 3-finger grip on it, and you know, it's not one that I'm gonna really bear down on. It feels okay up here. I definitely feel this fat freaking pocket clip down there. So that's just something to kind of note. I give the ergonomics maybe a B-. Yeah, plus or minus. Plus or minus a B-. Let's jump into some specs. I will do some size comparisons, and then as usual, I'll kind of give my final thoughts on what I'm thinking with this guy, and hope that, you know, I don't add more crappy filler while I'm trying to get my scale. Excuse me. So this knife is coming in at 3.05 ounces, fairly lightweight. The cool thing about it is it's that light, but it does kind of feel dense. So you do get a sense of quality from the James brand with this. And the same thing goes for the Folsom. If you guys remember, I'm not a huge fan of the James brand, but the quality fit of this, I can't deny their quality seems pretty darn good. Pocket clip sturdy, you know, the blade play, no up and down other than for the axis lock. They're dead centered right here. The action on it's pretty fine. Let's see. So these are recessed liners, recessed steel liners that have no milling. So there's no weight relieving properties in here. They probably could have got this down to like a 2.6 if they would have done that. That's a complete and utter guess, but if they would have done some weight relieving in there, they could have done a little bit better sub 3 ounce mark. Let's go over the overall length of this guy. So tip to the, we're going to go to where the pocket clip protrudes out to give a true overall length here. So tip to where the pocket clip protrudes out, it's about 6 3/4 inch. So it's not a very long knife. Life's not very long on this knife either. I gave it away pretty quick. So it is a 2 3/4 inch blade with just under 2 3/4 inches of cutting length. Obviously a little bit less when it comes to the serrated edges, but you know, take that for what you will. All right, so let's check the blade stock thickness on this guy. Blade stock thickness is coming in at a 0.112 inches, so we're 112 thousandths, which is pretty darn thin. And let's see if we get behind the edge. So this thing looks like it's coming in pretty slicey. At the belly of the knife, it looks like 15 thousandths. Up towards the tip, it's closer to about, at the very tip, it's close to 30. You could see that they kept the same angle, but as you get closer to the belly where there's more meat to come down with the flat grind, you can see, well, yeah, about 18 thousandths behind the edge. So the overall thickness of this knife coming in at just under 0.48, which is pretty impressive because that's, you know, the average knife is coming in about 1/2 inch thick. Now, overall height of this guy coming in at 1.096 or 1.1 inches if you want to round, which is also pretty darn good. So the carry profile on this is excellent. And the whole purpose of what they were trying to go for here was a gentleman's carry, which is, in my opinion, they did hit it. They hit it on the head. It does feel classy. It looks classy. There's a lot about this to love as far as that goes. But with that being said, you know, we kind of got this fat pocket clip. If you're trying to look classy, I don't know, maybe that's supposed to hang out of your pocket, kind of look like a money clip or something. So I guess that's cool. And James brand, as much as I don't like them that much, that's their logo. It's a pretty cool looking logo. It's like more like a cat. See it? But of course, as usual, he puts a serial number VG10 down here, which is unobtrusive, and then he puts James here. So it definitely makes it feel like a brand. This feels like a brand. There's something about it that just, you know, screams, brand me, James brand. Ew. Not sure if that sounds right, but whatever. So Let's check the comparison knives. As you can tell here, much smaller than the Rat Model 1. And still pretty smaller compared to the Rat Model 2. The Civivi Dogma. I did that out of the camera, so that kind of lost its effect. And the Civivi Odium. The Odium is actually just about the same length and relatively the same everything when it comes to just generics, right? The Odium's slightly shorter. The blade length is about the same if you exclude the choil versus the serrations. Obviously, Odium, in my opinions, maybe we'll do a battle to the death or something with that. I don't know. But the Dogma, coming in at much larger, kind of gives you an idea for this knife. I'm not going to show any more larger knives. This is the Mini Feldspar. As you can see, the Mini Feldspar is much larger. And this is your Para 3. Once again, your Para 3 is still larger than this guy. So this James brand, really, you're not going to find a very large knife. I don't think they make knives that are above 3 inches. I don't think I've seen one. I'm pretty sure that they just don't exist. So what are my thoughts on this knife? Well, first, let's get this out of the way. For this VG10, G10, Axis lock, classy looking knife, we're paying about $150 to $160 for, plus or minus in that range. Maybe on Blade HQ, $145, something like that, but in that ballpark, the $150 ballpark. For G10 and VG10 in that ballpark, I mean, it's a decent quality. The action's okay. It's super smooth. It doesn't have any thwack to it. The Axis lock works just fine, but it's just not satisfying. And these thumb studs, we'll get to the likes and dislikes, and I keep scuffing up this blade. But so for $150, am I getting what I'm paying for nowadays? I don't know. I truly don't, because for VG10, I feel like last year VG10 might have gone in this range, or maybe in 2018. But nowadays it feels like a slight step above a budget steel. And how many people really prefer VG10 over even D2? I know there's those of us out there that do, but for what reasons, right? Like, what is, you have to have it specific, why you like it a little bit softer, easier to deal with, more corrosion resistance. I don't remember the actual chromium content of VG10, but so it just doesn't feel like a premium steel anymore. It feels like a slightly above average steel, which I would find in my knives from the $80 to $120 price range, not the $150 price range. That's my first complaint with it, the price point. But the price point with every James brand knife is going to come out. Look at the Folsom. The Folsom's CTS BD1, which is unique. That's what's cool about it, is you don't see it that often. But at the same time, you're charging me $110 for that. Let's retract a little bit. So this is an ultra deep carry, and I don't like this pocket clip, but I think what they were going for with this pocket clip was to look like a money clip, so it's hanging out of your pocket. So, okay, I get it. It's still the classy look, right? The wood G10 look is cool. I mean, this is nice. I like the G10. I like the color scheme. The accent green with everything else black and satin / silvery finish looks nice. So this is a classy looking knife. And I wish I had the straight edge. After I got out of the James brand thing, I never bought a straight edge one. I have no urge to. Now, if they were to move this thumb stud, this is one of my biggest dislikes of this knife besides the price point. This thumb stud is too high. Thumb disc. See, with the thumb stud, I naturally want to press up, right? But I'm pressing at the bottom of the disc. I'm not using it like the disc. In order to use the disc right here, I have to change my position and push out. And it works fine. Your body will get used to it, but it's just not, for example, here's the Mini Feldspar. See how I'm pushing up? Boom. It's not natural for us to want to push out. Now, if I'm going to push out, I want to come a little bit further down to go out like that. But instead, I want to go up. And that's just, they place the thumb disc where there should be a thumb stud, in my opinion. So besides the price point, besides the thumb disc misplacement, do I think this was a missed thing on James brand? No, not at all. I think they hit what they were going for. I think it's a very classy looking knife. I don't get into the sub 3-inch knives that much. I much prefer the Odium for 1/3 the price. But, you know, I'll do a battle with those two maybe, and we'll kind of see where they fall. And as you can see, this thing's, either my hands are just nasty or I just keep scuffing the crap out of this blade. The quality's great. The fit and finish is great. It's a super slicey blade. And I think as a gentleman's carry, it will do the trick. For me, not for $150. I think everything in James Brand is overpriced, kind of like a Benchmade, but they haven't earned what Benchmade has earned, in my opinion. Benchmade kind of earned that price point. That's what they do. They give a legendary warranty, etc., etc., etc. The boxing and the felt and everything else is pretty cool. It's a very classy looking knife that you're going to pay a little extra for the class. If that's something that you like, by all means, you won't be disappointed with it. It is a very slicey. It'll do the letter opening, all that stuff for you. But, you know, as an everyday carry, somebody who works in a mill, no thank you. It's just, that was a little bit quick. I was trying to give a little bit of a, I really wanted to give some suspense there. Do I want it? I don't know. No, it's just not my type of knife. I give them credit for what they did here. In my opinion, I like this knife more so than the Folsom, even though I like the Folsom more in the beginning. It feels nicer, but you're also paying an extra $40 for it. So this is the James Brand Carter, and I think you can find these on Blade HQ. You can definitely go to their website and get it. Their website's very cool. Like I said, it's like a contemporary knife guy, and that's all good and fun, you know, until you pay for it, unless you're the guy with money and whatnot. But anyways, guys, this is the James Brand Folsom. This is their logo for those of us not familiar with James Brand. It's a solid quality piece that if this is what you're looking for, then you found it. Just get ready to pay for it. That's all I got, guys. My name is Tyler. This is Everyday EDC. You guys stay sharp, stay safe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.